Vignales side, we work with much more calm situation, but for sure will be a difficult race.
And the heat, I saw some gadgets to help the riders.
Yeah, we will keep, because for sure, not only during the sprint, but for sure for the main race will help the riders.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks.
Good luck.
Yeah, thanks to Paolo Bonora from Aprilia. Thanks to Simon Crafar. Yeah, Maverick Viñales had to withdraw or retire from that Thai Grand Prix a couple of days. Just could not carry on, simply too dangerous, could barely catch his breath, the heat coming off that Aprilia RSGP. Pecco Bagnaia then comes to pole position for the first time since Barcelona, joined on the front row by his teammate Enea Bastianini. A welcome return to form for the beast, who needs a strong end to the season if he's to keep hold of that prized and coveted factory seat. Clearly we know that Ducati are monitoring that situation. Will he be the perfect wingman today for Pecco Bagnaia?
Let's take a look at the grid then before we head down to Simon. Bagnaia, Martin head-to-head from the front row of the grid. They start first and second from Enea Bastianini. Alex Marquez fourth from Luca Marini and Marco Bezzecchi. All riders at this stage going to the grid on the medium front and rear combination. Brad Binder will be looking to launch himself towards another sprint podium from the third row of the grid. He's seventh from Fabio Quartararo, who has good long-run pace, and Maverick Viñales ninth. Miller, Di Gianantonio and Zarco are on the fourth row together. Di Gianantonio, along with Bastianini, came through Q1. Aleix Espargaro, who had a terrible Friday with 4 crashes, 13th from Augusto Fernandez and Frankie Morbidelli. Joan Mir starts 16th from Pol Espargaro, and the second of the Fernandezes, that is Raul, of course. Miguel, his teammate, 19th. Miguel Oliveira from Marc Marquez, Taka Nakagami, Alvaro Bautista, the World Superbike champion, in 22nd place, and Iker Lecuona in 23rd place.
Well, there we go. It was a great spot a few moments ago by Lewis on the warm-up lap, as clearly some aero fell off Jorge Martin's Pramac Ducati. This is coming out of turn 14. Keep an eye on the middle of your picture on the number 89 machine. There you can see it. Something clearly on the left-hand side, the left aero flying off, not obviously attached properly, was it, on the left-hand side of that Pramac Ducati. That's why now they're just carrying out a rapid repair job, making sure that the new wing is correctly and tightly fitted. There it is. That's the piece that has snapped off Jorge Martin's GP23. He'll be mighty relieved that that happened on the warm-up lap, because that could have been so performance, well, I was going to say enhancing, but of course it would take away a lot of performance in that sprint. Let's get some thoughts, though, from Davide Tardozzi, Ducati Lenovo team boss, ahead of what's a massive sprint for Pecco Bagnaia, starting from pole. Davide joins Simon.
Davide, Pecco on pole with a fantastic lap, but I'm so happy to see Enea back. Can you give us your thoughts? You always give some good insights on who you think will be there in the race or sprint.
I think that first of all we must be happy to have 6 Ducati in the first 2 rows. That is something incredible for us as a factory, but in the end we are really proud that Enea came back. This morning he proved that he's still a very fast rider, so we'll see. I think that there are at least 7-8 riders that can fight for the podium, so it's a short race, but will be very tough on the first 2 laps that will give some chance or close some chance to somebody else.
Thank you, good luck.
Thank you.
Thanks, Simon. Thanks to Davide Tardozzi then. 2 factory Ducati riders on the front row, Bagnaia and Bastianini. Jorge Martin in the middle of that front row. Here is the man in 5th place on the grid. Would have certainly been hoping for better, but a crash in that dramatic Q2 session at turn 9 for Italian Luca Marini, who does bring some good form on Saturdays into this Tissot sprint. Sprint podiums in the last 2 for Luca Marini. And of course, happy memories here in Malaysia as well. His first ever Grand Prix victory was here 5 years ago, on a very good day for the VR46 squad back then. It was the day that Bagnaia was also crowned world champion. We'll just quickly go down onto the grid. Simon Crafar's got some pre-sprint thoughts about who's potentially in the hunt for the victory.
Yeah, I was just running through pace, looking at who looks really consistent, and especially for tomorrow, but it could have effect today, even in this shorter sprint. And it's pretty obvious for everyone that Francesco Bagnaia, like, he's right there. He's one of the favourites for sure. But for my second favourite, equal to him on pace, it has to be, like you mentioned earlier, Alex Marquez looked fantastic. Jorge Martin's going to be there, but I'm worried about his pace over the longer distance. Be super surprising, well, super interesting to see what Enea can do, because he's only just turned up, in qualifying. But the surprising ones for me, that stand out to have magic pace, is Fabio Quartararo, like he was a year ago here, all the way through to the podium. And believe it or not, his teammate, super good pace, Frankie Morbidelli. Let's just see what they can do.
Yeah, thanks for that, Simon. Tough prospect coming up for Frankie Morbidelli, because he has been really strong in terms of his race pace, as Simon mentioned. 4th quickest yesterday morning. He was 2nd fast in a rather surprising Yamaha 1-2 in that FP2 session that took place right at the start of proceedings here on Saturday. Morbidelli, though, at the back of the 5th row in 15th. All kinds of shenanigans with him and Marc Marquez. Fabio Quartararo, 8th. Felt like yesterday it was a great start this Malaysian Grand Prix weekend, and believes he's got top 5, which he said would be an amazing result. We'll find out very, very shortly. There was Alex Marquez in heading row 2. Just a quick note on his brother, 30-year-old Marc Marquez. Well, he's never started lower in his MotoGP career. His equal worst MotoGP qualifying, matching a 20th in Assen 2.5 years ago. Not helped by a crash on a big bump at turn 7 this morning. Marc Marquez, 20th place on the factory Honda.
Yeah, his end of his Repsol Honda career, it feels, can't come soon enough. It is the beginning of the long goodbye for Marc Marquez at Repsol Honda. 20th on the grid for him, and a slim to none chance of him scoring points from there. Of course, top 9 secure points in this Tissot sprint, and it would be rather a surprise if the bulk of those points aren't mopped up by Ducati riders. As Simon mentioned, the Yamahas do look particularly quick, but not only is Frankie Morbidelli deep on the grid for this sprint, but Fabio Quartararo hasn't exactly maximised the sprints. Expect more, I think, from Quartararo in tomorrow's 20-lap Grand Prix. The sprint might be a bridge too far for him.
Jorge Martin hunting a 6th consecutive Tissot sprint success. He's already been a 7-time winner on Super Saturdays, has the 25-year-old Spaniard. Pecco Bagnaia, though, looking to stop the rot, looking to break Martin's golden run of gold medals. There's been no sprint success for Bagnaia since the Red Bull Ring in Austria, when he completed one of 3 doubles that he's managed so far this season. And having already struck a psychological blow on Saturday here against Jorge Martin in that Q2 session this morning, he's looking to inflict more damage on the Spanish rider. Of course, the last time he was in full attack mode, Martin, around Malaysia, he was on the floor at turn number 4. Can he quickly put that to the back of his mind and focus on the task in hand? Brad Binder, well, he's the best of the non-Ducatis. 7th place for the factory KTM man, 1:58.050. It's a long run down to the first corner here. If you can make the start and be aggressive on the brakes into that first corner. Well, we saw last year in the main Grand Prix, Bagnaia starting 9th, quickly inside the top 3. Quartararo eventually from 12th took the checkered flag in 3rd place. So there's opportunities aplenty if you time it right on the brakes going in to that first corner. Pecco Bagnaia then on pole position. 7th pole of the season for the Italian. His closest championship rival parked right next to him on the front row of the grid for this Tissot sprint. 13 points is the gap between Bagnaia and Martin. 10 laps of sprint drama coming your way in Malaysia next.